I will, on the commute home today or the way back in tomorrow, I can't remember which it is, roll 389000 on the odometer on the CRV. Had a cool moment with the numbers. I had a 388,888 on the over the weekend, which was pretty neat.
I'm surprised.
I got to introduce you first, Bill. I got a big comeback for you.
Recognize the voice. Go ahead.
Let's welcome back our co-host. He was ill last week, but he's back, and he seems healthy to me, the Admiral Bill Stubblefield.
Good morning, Rob. My comment was, I'm surprised you did not run into somebody while you're looking at the numbers.
Who said I didn't?
There's the answer, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm skilled at this, Bill. Yeah. I don't recommend it at home, but, I'm rather skilled at staring at my odometer while driving.
And let everybody else get out of your way. If they have to, they have to. That's a rule of the road.
As a wise man once said, small price to pay.
That's right.
Let's bring in also New York Times best-selling author John Gilstrap.
Good morning.
Morning, John.
Happy to be here.
You were busy this weekend.
I was at the Creatures, Crimes, and Creativity, C3 conference in Columbia, Maryland, which is it's a small conference, about 110 people I think were there, but had a really nice time. Good turnout, a lot of great panels. I met a guy named Tom Straw. And he's from Hollywood. He's a screenwriter and a showrunner. He did Nurse Jackie, Edie Falco, which
The Sopranos. Carmela Soprano. And
it turns out he's one of the great secrets of New York publishing. Back when, remember the show Castle with Nathan Fillion? Well, when that show was running, and that was about a novelist who helped the police department solve crimes. While that show was running, there was a series of best-selling books by Richard Castle. And the real author was one of the best-kept secrets in New York publishing. Everybody was wondering who it was. It turns out it was Tom Straw. I found that out. He can confess it now, so it's kind of neat.
Tom Straw is
Richard Castle.
Yeah. Hey, John, with 110 folks there, are mostly of them well established, or a lot of them just trying to get into the market?
Most of them are aspiring writers, I would say, or early in their journey. And what's interesting about this, most of the conferences I go to are mystery or thriller or suspense writing. This is across genre. So there are romance writers and there are fantasy sci-fi writers, and as well as crime fiction. So it's interesting. The challenges are different.
What would be the difference in the challenges? My question was going to be, is there a common core extended across all the genres? And I suspect there would be. But what are the differences between the genres as far as writing?
Well, fantasy science fiction it's like bowling without gutters. There's anything can go. There's no reality. So as long as the reality is true to itself, you can do anything. There's no word count limit. Fantasy sci-fi is the only genre that can be, 800 pages and people will buy it.
Really?
Yeah.
Why does it get a pass? Just because it expands the mind?
Because the readers are insatiable. That's what they're expecting. As opposed to romance, which tends to be very locked down, where like the category romances, the Harlequins, those sort of things, they have a very specific, like 80,000 words or 50,000 words. 80,000 is too much, with like a 200-word variation that's allowed. They are really, really locked down because I don't know if you look at these things, but on the shelf they are exactly the same length. They're the same spine width.
I realize fonts drives the number of pages, but on an average typical font, how many would 80,000 words be pages?
They come about 300 pages, give or take.
80,000 be 300 pages. Okay.
All right, we'll come back to Mr. Gilstrap's world in a moment here. But the Admiral, as you I'm sure noticed last week, and many people asked about you, Bill.
That's very kind. Thank you.
Guests and what have you about how's the Admiral? What's going on there? Is he really sick or what? And I said, the Admiral caught one, but he's doing well. He should be back next week. But you sat out 3 days last week.
Yeah. Well, all 5 days I laid low. Yeah. Is just a head cold.
Rob only cared about the 3 that affected him. The other days you weren't sick.
Those aren't my problem those days, Bill.
But it's but I'm so fortunate, Rob. I look around and so many people are, when they're ill, they're very, very ill with a lot of pain involved. I did not fall in that category. I had a bad head cold. I spent the nights coughing, but compared to so many people, that was minor. So,
And it wasn't COVID.
it was not COVID. I double checked 2 or 3 times, being sure. But also, one of the reasons I could have probably come in Wednesday, definitely on Friday, but we have a very small, confined space here, and I know you're sensitive, and others are as well. If someone's infectious, anything, there's no reason to spread it around with your colleagues. So part of my reason was I was enjoying listening, so I had a chance to hear it from a different, or listen from a different perspective. So, but I was not. Thanks for everybody asking. Thanks for everybody's concern. But compared to so many people, I was not ill at all.
It's been interesting, this whatever germ is going around, because one of the high school teams in Montgomery County, I think they had 3 starters who missed their game Friday night because they were so sick they couldn't get out of bed for like 3 days. And it's been fascinating to me to see how this, whatever this bug is, has hit people in different ways, either to the point where you don't want to move, or like in a day you're fine, you're back up battling.
And it may be my age, or it may be the type of strain, but you lose your energy. And there's it's not that you don't want to get out of bed. Once you do get out of bed, you're just as happy not doing very much.
I think a lot of that has to do with the cycle that you don't sleep well. Because you're not breathing well, and you're hacking and coughing, so you're not getting sleep, so you're tired during the day, and it just...
Now, while you were away, Bill, as I said, you weren't forgotten because people did ask about you, but you also came up in the comments section, and I did see you at one point comment, and this had to do with the MS4 designation with the Chesapeake Bay pollutants and runoffs and what Berkeley County has to do that other counties in the area don't have to do. And you were accused in our comments section of being an environmentalist who brought this on the county at one point. And then the show is accused during the interviews of not asking tough questions because we were trying to spare you of criticism, which drew a reaction from me. Poor Brad Knoll was the one who got the brunt of that one. My apologies, Brad, but I thought the integrity of the show was being called out, and you were mistakenly being identified as the liberal environmentalist who brought these restrictions on Berkeley County.
Well, I am an environmentalist, and I'm an unapologetic environmentalist. Brad and I swapped some emails or text messages after the fact, and it was implemented before I became a county commissioner, but it shifted over to being paid for or managed by the sewer department while I was a county commissioner. And I've been thinking all weekend, I don't know the answer to this. I need to go back and refresh myself. The sewer department took management of it, and that's when the rain tax started being felt by the taxpayers as a whole. That was when I was a county commissioner, because we had the decision. It was being managed by the county. Then it went to the sewer department, and at the sewer department's request, and then that's when they started, I think, sharing the pain, if you will. What I'm confused of, and I need to find out, is how it was being paid for before the sewer department got involved. And it may have been a cost that the county was assuming themselves. I honestly cannot remember.
So how many commissions before you? Was that the Steve Teufel commission?
That is Steve Teufel, Ron Collins, and Howard Strauss committee.
Was that the one directly before you?
That's exactly right. Now, but let's honest to be said, if I had been a member of the county commission at the time, I'm not sure if I would have voted against it. In fact, I probably would have voted for it. So even though I was not part of the county commission, I do see a need for better management of our stormwater management. And I do not understand the full implications of what the DEP, EPA, and the county had. Again, that was before my watch, and I've never took the time to look at the detailed nuances of the agreement.
So, but during your time on the commission, how much did you deal with these regulations and the fees?
circle back to what I said a second ago. You're talking about the MS4, the stormwater man. I do not remember it being an issue, Rod. I don't. That's why I'm a little fuzzy right now. I know it became an issue after it shifted to the sewer department.
Right.
I cannot remember being an issue prior to that.
I think what Mike Height was talking about was the fees seem to go to an administrative end that is there to pay for the administrative end of the program. And I guess there are inspections and such that are done, but what specifically can you do to mitigate stormwater runoff when you've got parking lots and interstate highways? And do you have to create more ponds for it to store, or what?
Yeah, that's part of the engineering department as they go through the planning process. There has to be a stormwater pond if there's a certain amount of impermeable surface. They have to have these mud barriers up or sediment barriers up. That's all during the construction process. Once the construction is done, I know the state comes in occasionally and looks at the county's property, and we were criticized on a couple of occasions of not keeping the weeds down in one of our drain ponds. But that's all I remember, Rob. I do not remember it being a major issue. Perhaps it was, and my memory's getting sluggish. I don't know, but I do not remember being a major issue until after the so-called rain tax became implemented. And the rain tax was not part of it in its first 5 or 6, 7 years of being enforced.
I remember that debate during the Copenhagen administration. I think it might have been during Doug's first term. He just got a text that said, meeting minutes maintained in the county clerk's office would provide insight on who voted for it. Okay.
Yeah.
John.
Let me interrupt. I just noticed something from Faith Hall, and I invoked Howard Strauss' name a second ago, who I was always quite fond of. Faith tells me that Howard Strauss passed away in July. I had not known that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
I had not heard that. Thank you, Faith.
I know he had spent a lot of time in Florida after that, and it was less of a presence in Berkeley County for 3 or 4 years after he stepped down. But he was a good man. He was he ruffled some feathers. We're shifting gears a little bit, but I do want to pay tribute to Howard. He ruffled some feathers because he was very direct and he was uncompromising. But he was a driving force for getting the Judicial Center. And I'm not sure we'd have the Judicial Center without Howard Strauss. It's the same thing with Blue Ridge. When Blue Ridge was looking for a home, Howard opened the doors of the county commission to Blue Ridge, and they stayed as the occupant of the Dunn building for several years until they were able to build their own building. So Howard is best known for his very open battles with Sheriff Randy Smith, and the two of them neither one were prepared to give an inch to the other one. And so that's what Howard's remembered for. But he should be remembered for his contribution to the Judicial Center, and also giving Blue Ridge a home for a critical time.
Yeah, I was not aware of Howard's passing. When I started the talk show in the 90s across town, Howard was a frequent guest. For a while, he was about the only elected Republican in Berkeley County, it seemed. Yeah. And I can remember Howard and the late Jim Smith didn't get along so well on occasion, and I would have them both on the program on different days. And Howard would complain to me about Jim, and then Jim would come in and he would complain about Howard to me, and I was like the referee in the middle.
Yeah, Howard's the proverbial bulldog in the room. He was not about to give an inch, but he had good ideas, and he had the persistence to make things happen. And Faith just came back and said he was in Florida when he passed away unexpectedly. So our condolences. I don't know if Howard had a lot of family. I don't think he did. I know his mother moved to Florida, and that's why he moved to Florida. So I'm not sure what other family Howard had, but he was a good man.
Yeah, I think back on him with a smile. Every time I think of Howard, I especially think of him with a smile. Before your time here in the
well before my time,
Mr. Gilstrap. But back to those regulations, Bill. I remember when Doug was the county commission president. It might have been during his first term, because I do recall there were people who were saying that he should fight the fee and not pay it, and wait for the federal government to come in and make them pay it. because there were some folks who didn't feel like the EPA had actual jurisdiction there to be able to make Berkeley County residents pay that fee for the Chesapeake Bay. And Doug, I remember this saying, listen, as county commissioners, we can be held personally liable if we are irresponsible with the budget, as in financially personally liable. So if the county started getting federal fines and the commissioners were ruled to be negligent in causing those fines by not paying these fees, he felt like they could potentially have to personally reimburse the county for the money being spent.
Yeah, we're looking at from the impact we have on the citizens now through the rain tax. We forget what happened before some of these regulations came in. Inwood, Pikeside, flooded on not an annual basis, but very, very, very frequently. And you could remember water in the in all the storefronts. We had the same thing on in Berkeley Springs, Berkeley Station Road, flooding there all the time. The roads were impassable. I cannot remember in the last 3 or 4 or 5 years where we've had roads closed or stores inundated by floodwaters. So there's been a lot of progress in this front, and people forget about the progress being made, and they think only about the fact they get a bill in the mail once every 6 months or so.
So does our MS4 permit establish stormwater management ponds throughout the county?
Yes.
And how often are they remediated? Because what happens in stormwater management ponds, instead of pollutants being sort of spread out everywhere, they're directed into a concentrated area. So now you have a hazardous waste site in one spot. So does the county have
The county has
program to remediate
responsibilities. I don't know what the program is right now, John, but yeah, the county does. So
that's every solution creates another problem. It's when it comes to this stuff. It's which is not a complaint. It's just
no. But you're exactly right. But we tend to look at these in extremes. And I'm going to use your term, solution and problem. The net may be a positive, and if that's the case, then the problem is not on the same scale as the solution.
Well, it's for ages and ages and ages. When I was in the hazardous waste business, the solution to pollution is dilution, right?
Yeah.
So, and ultimately, that's how you end up with poisoned rivers, because you get rid of the pollutants in your street by washing it into the storm sewer, and then the storm sewer ends up in the river or the body of water, and then you have the problem. So now, with stormwater management, the stuff that's in parking lots and all of that goes to a stormwater management pond, and as the water evaporates, it's actually a much safer thing to have to remediate that pond. But the toxins in the pond are much more concentrated than they would be in any given spot throughout the distribution, what would have been the distribution area.
You know, Rob, this is an interesting subject, and we've been talking about on the edges for quite a while, and I'm not one that can give all the answers. Deborah Hammond is a person that knows the history and was very much involved, and I think the actions that Deborah took through the years were very positive. Going back to John's point, she was trying to solve a problem, and she did. She solved many, many, many problems. You might want to see if Deborah would be willing to come on and talk about the history of the stormwater management.
We can do that.
And because she was not only when it first was implemented, but also the reasons that was passed over to the sewer department.
Got a text from a resident on Friday when we were talking about this that said they pay $36 a quarter for the stormwater fee. A.R. Emmert says he pays $50 a quarter, $216 a year. Jackie Long says she pays $72 a quarter. I was told everybody pays the same amount. This is interesting because it seems to vary even among our comment section here. Yeah,
and I heard you talking about this the other day, and Bonnie pays all the bills, so I do not really know how much we have, but I did not think it was that high. I'm surprised at that number.
Ken Matson says, why do farms pay as well, i.e. 20 acre plus? My management is the ground. Most folks on this thread don't remember the flooding in Pikeside in the 60s and 70s until the feds mediated in late 70s, I believe. So it's kind of addressing your point. in regards to Howard Strauss. Fay said that he was an important person in the Hedgesville citizens during the LCS wars. Well, you remember those, Bill, back in, you were kind of just coming to the area.
I was just coming to the area, yes.
In the 90s, but there was a lot of complaints about LCS at that time. And AR notes there's still persistent flooding in particular areas of our city: Baltimore Street Underpass, Burke Street at Tennessee Avenue, and Raleigh Street 2. Delegate Chuck Hurst, MS4 became a problem when folks started receiving a bill. Any thoughts on how much the bill may or may not increase? As I understand, the phase we are in requires minimal actions, but as growth continues, that will likely change. That's a good question, Chuck. Hopefully you can get the answer. You're a delegate, right? And then Chuck also asked the question, John, maybe you can answer, how much pollutants do the ponds hold? Most ponds I have seen hold little water. They simply slow the rate of runoff to the streams.
It all depends. Those ponds are engineered. I've never engineered one, but there should be some kind of a they drain out, but then there's some containment for the hazardous materials the hazardous wastes that are in there. Now, according to my Google machine, the rain tax is it is a flat fee that people on public water and sewer are billed monthly at $3.50. Non-public sewer customers are billed semi-annually at $21.
Mr. Hardy, John Hardy, County Commissioner, is holding for a quick minute there. Go ahead, John.
Hey, Rob, I just wanted to clarify those differences in cost of those are people that live in the city. The city stormwater management is based off of GIS mapping off of the amount of impervious surfaces that one's property may have. So when you see those differences in cost, those are city residents. The county has a flat fee for stormwater management. So it is a flat fee for every county resident, whether you're on sewer, public water, public sewer. But when you see those differences in cost, those are city residents.
Gotcha. Thank you, John. And Senator Barrett confirms what you're saying. He says, I believe the county has a flat fee and the city charges are based on impervious area.
Yes.
So the county's fee is around $36 a year, thereabout, John.
Right. A quarter.
No, $3 a month, didn't you say, John?
$3 a month, yes. $3.50.
Yeah, $3.50.
That's interesting.
Yeah, whatever that rate is, it's a fixed rate. It doesn't change. It's the rate that all county properties are assessed.
So about $40 a year.
Yeah, and I know we don't have time this morning, but I would like to talk a little bit about what John has expressed some concerns about with these ponds, and the crisis that I see coming in the future is these stormwater management ponds that have been put in, and they have been in for some time, and now you're at the point where they start needing to be remediated. Who pays for that? When you go to these homeowners associations and say, hey, you need $40,000 worth of remediation done to your stormwater management pond, these HOAs have not been putting money away for these ponds. That's one thing that scares the hell out of me is if the DEP comes in and starts saying, hey, these ponds have to be remediated. This is what it's going to cost. Now they want you to put these effloxants in them, this fluff material that goes in them that collects runoff, and then that has to be fluffed every certain amount of time. Then it has to be removed, and has to be put in. I mean, these regulations, if they continue to grow, who's going to pay for this? I mean, where's the money come from? I mean, it's not within the county's coffers to be able to pay for this. It's not within the sewer boards to be able to pay for this. Are the HOAs putting that kind of money away to have these stormwater management ponds remediated? I mean, this is a growing concern of mine of if this just being another government overreach that's going to continue to grow, and the regulations will get stricter and stricter, and who's going to pay for it?
John, thank you. I appreciate your participation.
Yep, thanks.
Have a great day. It's County Commissioner John Hardy. And I did get a text from a city resident that said they pay $36 per quarter. Not per year.
But the county
is a little different, right?
County is around $40 a year.
Yeah, that's much cheaper.